My supervisor smiled and slid a termination letter across the table exactly one day before my $4 million bonus was due. Everyone expected me to panic, argue, or beg for another chance. Instead, I calmly signed the paperwork and walked out without saying a word. 1 hour later, their lead lawyer removed her glasses, stared directly at the CEO, and asked a question that turned the entire room silent. "Brian, please tell me you paid her." Nobody answered, because everyone suddenly realized they had made the most expensive mistake of their careers. Story: my name is Olivia, and for nearly 12 years I had helped build one of the fastest growing technology companies in the country. When I first joined, we worked in a tiny office with outdated equipment and fewer than 20 employees. Over the years, I sacrificed weekends, vacations, and countless nights of sleep to help the company grow into a billion-dollar business. Every major project seemed to land on my desk, and every time the company celebrated another record-breaking year, executives praised my dedication. What I did not realize was that loyalty inside a corporation often lasts only until someone decides you are too expensive to keep. The company had recently completed a massive acquisition that increased profits beyond expectations. As part of my executive compensation agreement, I was entitled to receive a performance bonus worth approximately $4 million. The payment was scheduled for the following afternoon. I had already started planning how I would invest part of the money and help my parents enjoy a comfortable retirement. Every performance target had been exceeded, every document was signed, and there was no legitimate reason the payment could be denied. The day before the bonus was due, my supervisor unexpectedly requested a meeting. When I entered the conference room, I immediately noticed a human resources representative and a company attorney sitting beside him. The atmosphere felt cold and rehearsed. My supervisor avoided eye contact while sliding a folder across the table. He informed me that due to restructuring and changing business priorities, my employment was being terminated effective immediately. The decision had already been finalized. For several seconds, I simply looked at the documents. Everyone in the room seemed prepared for an emotional reaction. They expected anger, disbelief, or tears. Instead, I quietly reviewed every page, signed the acknowledgement form, and thanked them for their time. The expressions around the table quickly changed from confidence to confusion. My calm response was not what they expected. As I walked out of the building carrying a small box of personal belongings, I noticed my supervisor smiling. He genuinely believed he had just saved the company millions of dollars. What nobody knew was that months earlier I had discovered something hidden inside my employment agreement. During a routine review, I found a clause buried deep within the contract. The wording was complex and easy to overlook, but its meaning was crystal clear. If the company terminated my employment without documented misconduct, within 30 days of a scheduled performance bonus payment, the bonus became immediately payable, and additional financial penalties could apply. I highlighted the clause, saved copies of every document, and kept detailed records. Something had told me I might need that information one day. About an hour after my termination, the legal department began reviewing final paperwork before processing everything officially. Their lead attorney was one of the most respected lawyers in the industry. She rarely made mistakes and was known for spotting problems before anyone else. As she worked through the documents, she reached the section containing the clause I had previously flagged. Witnesses later told me her expression changed immediately. She reread the paragraph several times before slowly removing her glasses. The room became unusually quiet as she looked toward the CEO. Then she asked a question that sent a wave of panic through every executive present. "Brian, please tell me you paid her." At first, the CEO laughed because he assumed she was exaggerating. Then the attorney explained exactly what the contract required. The termination had not eliminated the $4 million obligation. Instead, it had triggered accelerated compensation provisions, legal reimbursement requirements, and additional penalties that could cost the company several times more than the original payment. The confidence in the room disappeared instantly. Over the next several days, executives scrambled to understand how such a costly mistake had happened. Internal emails were reviewed, managers were questioned, and emergency meetings filled the calendar. Unfortunately for them, the evidence only made things worse. Multiple emails revealed discussions about terminating me specifically to avoid paying the bonus. Those messages transformed what they believed was a routine termination into a serious legal problem. Every new document strengthened my position and weakened theirs. Soon, my phone started ringing constantly. Executives who had ignored me for years suddenly wanted conversations. Human resources representatives left urgent voicemail messages. Outside attorneys contacted my legal team requesting meetings. The same people who thought they held all the power were now desperately searching for a way out of the situation they had created. The dispute eventually ended through a confidential settlement worth significantly more than the original bonus amount. More importantly, several executives responsible for the decision faced consequences inside the company. Some lost their positions while others quietly resigned. The damage to the organization's reputation lasted far longer than the financial cost. Looking back, I learned something important. Greed often convinces people they are smarter than everyone around them. The executives believed they had discovered a clever shortcut that would save millions of dollars. Instead, they ignored the details, underestimated the person they were targeting, and created a disaster entirely of their own making. The day they fired me, they thought my story was ending. In reality, it was only beginning. By the time their lawyer finished reading that contract, the outcome had already been decided. The people who tried to take everything from me ended up paying a price far greater than the money they hoped to save.